Recording in progress. Cool. Okay, you ready? Great. Hello, Katie. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello.
I'm so happy to have you as part of our NICO at home. I've known you for such a long time, but I've always just thought you're such a cool, interesting creative with like a really unique perspective on the world. So we've really
likewise tenfold.
Oh, so we're really happy to have you here, and I always just like love chatting with you anyway. We'll have to try to not just like be in laughing fits the whole time, but we'll see how we go. So to give a bit of a background into you and your story, so I think I first came across you via your blog and your Instagram, The Traveling Light, which is an incredible collection of travel stories and travel guides and basically just world and life inspiration, which you've been working on for a while now, right? Like, how long has it been?
Yeah, I think it's been almost 10 years, like 9 years now, that I sort of started that travel blog, and I started just traveling, working from all over the world and working for myself and just winging it.
Yeah, totally. I love it.
And when I first picked up a camera too.
Yeah, right. Is that when you started? Because your photos are like so amazing. That's so cool.
Well, don't go too far into the archives.
All great. They're all great. So basically you lived as like, I guess what you'd call it, like a digital nomad, right, for years, which, you know, like traveling and working in different places. Excuse me. And then you know, since then you've settled down in Italy and you've been there for a little while now. So I find that really interesting that you've had like a taste of like those two really like different lifestyles.
Also hectic city life in Paris, because I was like digital nomad for like 5 years. I don't know if these years all add up, but digital nomad for a while. Then I lived in Paris for like 3 years, kind of on and off. And then then I moved to like the smallest town ever in central Italy. Just
super
totally
different, right? Like, what do you think are like the pros and cons of the different lifestyles? Like, have you got a favorite, or is it there's good things and bad things about all of them?
Yeah, definitely. I think that like I feel like you can't have it all unless you're like moving around to different places, and then you like don't even get to have the full benefit of each place anyway. So I don't know. I mean, pros and cons of living here, like in small town Italy, is just like, I mean, it's so quiet and peaceful that I just feel like I feel so full of energy, and I feel so like connected to myself and nature, and like I don't know, it's just like this slow living is just, I think it's really good for humans and it's really good for me. And I mean, the people that live here too are really inspiring. Like, you know, they live in this really small town on a hill, and there's like a community of like less than 1,000 people. And like they all just like care about each other and know each other, and they, you know, like they're so nice to each other. Everybody is so nice because they just have time to be nice, and they all, I guess you just know each other, so that's how you just grow up. And they care about their families, they see their families like all the time, and like I don't know, that's really beautiful to be around. And I think too, it's really cool to be one of only a handful of foreigners in a place that like has this really strong culture of its own. Like you get to go so deep into this foreign culture and like learn things that you could never learn if you were only here for like 2 weeks, or even like as a digital nomad, when I was somewhere for like a month or 3 months, you still like, you don't get to go in as deep as I've gotten to be, you know, going into this culture and getting to know these people, and like, you know, learning the language too, like talking to people in their language. You get to learn all these things that you just aren't privy to unless you like stick around and you really force yourself to integrate. So like that's like super interesting, like such an adventure.
Yeah,
in itself, like
the ultimate travel, like the ultimate journey, I suppose, like to get that real like depth of understanding.
Yeah,
like you can't
which is like
on a holiday, can you?
No, you just yeah, and I mean it's also like really hard at times. You're just like, I just want to go home or whatever. But like, I mean, yeah, the benefits are just
Yeah.
amazing.
Mm.
But then, I mean, then I think, I don't know. I think then when you're like living more like that digital nomad life, I mean, it's completely different. You also meet like really great people, but like they're different. They're good in different ways. You know, like the really people who think outside the box and are really independent and are pushing the sort of limits of what, you know, it's acceptable to do, and like having all these new ideas, like that's really cool to be around too, because
Yeah.
you know when you go into all these like co-working spaces and stuff, when you do that lifestyle, you meet, yeah, some really interesting people, and that's super inspiring. And I mean, then moving around to different places as well is obviously super inspiring in a different way, that you know, you then get to meet all these different people in different cultures and see how different people live. And, you know, it's like, it's all kind of like constantly new to you. So you're like really like alive and like,
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah, like you're amazed like all the time, and you're learning and you're like taking in all this new information. And that's like, I don't know, that's energizing in a different way. But I
Yeah.
think it can get like very exhausting, and it's stressful, and it's like a lot of admin as well, living like that, like
Yeah.
finding a new place to live every like
Yeah.
month or 2 months. It's
Yeah.
like,
That's hard.
I don't know, some people like do it full time forever, you know, but I think for me it was just ultimately too tiring to keep living like that, and I
Yeah.
just went completely the opposite direction.
And that's so interesting in itself. It's almost like you had that really like big world thinking for so long, and now you've got this real small town thinking. That seems like kind of a healthy balance, and some like somehow you come out in the middle, I guess.
Well, I'd like to
Or
just be
balance.
here. I'd like to be here, like, you know, like most of the year, but then go out and like get that inspiration from meeting different people and, you know, still traveling a lot,
Yeah.
like, you know, maybe 3 months of the year, or, you know, whatever it is. But I think,
Yeah.
yeah, living here full time for 2 years during the pandemic, it's like, okay, I do need to like leave for sure and go
Yeah.
out and do other things, because just it's
Yeah.
on its own is pretty challenging as well. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know, I'm some kind of weird hybrid human.
Yeah. No, I get that for sure. That kind of brings me to my next question, actually. And this is like a bit of a big one, a broad one, but like, what is it about travel? Like, what does travel give you? You know, why were you drawn to it in the first place?
um, well, I traveled a lot growing up with my family. I was very lucky to do that. So I don't know, I guess it was just always something that I did. So it seemed like a natural thing to keep doing. But what does it give me? Like, I mean, I think I just like seeing how different people like live and seeing how they think about the world. It's like, you know, this cool anthropological study, like even just going to the supermarket and or seeing people's houses when you stay in an Airbnb, like
Mm.
seeing the different ways that humans have decided to live. And I think it like changes the way you think. And then you change, and that's like the most exciting thing for me, to keep kind of learning and evolving.
Yeah.
But I think also like living in one place, I think, well, I have a tendency to become a bit like, I don't notice things like beauty, you know, being a photographer or someone who like writes about the beautiful things in life. It's like you sort of start to not notice things as much when you're in one place for such a long time. And then when you travel, it's like you're so awake to everything, and you're so like, yeah, you just notice beauty and you're so amazed. And I just like love that feeling. It's like,
Mm.
yeah, important part of living for me.
Yeah, I know
So I
what you
think,
mean. Everything's fresh all of a sudden, right? Like, yeah.
yeah, and that's like for a photographer or a writer too, you know, to have these like new experiences. And I think also like just meeting new people wherever you go. Like I just really like meeting new people and having new experiences. So I
Yeah.
guess it's some combination of that.
Yeah. All very good reasons. I love that. Cool. So thanks so much for doing the shoot. Your home in Italy looks so beautiful and so like
It may have been like the deepest, darkest day of winter that we
Yeah,
decided
it looks really like
a little bit cold.
Thanks for challenging yourself with that.
May have run out into my backyard, like in the middle of town with like people, like nobody passed, but I was like, okay, quick, get the shot.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. But how did you find it? Like, how was the experience of doing the shoot? I mean, you shoot yourself all the time, right? Like for the blog, so maybe it wasn't anything particularly new.
Yeah, but I'm not often in my underwear, never.
Yeah.
And rarely in my like swimming suit either. Like
Yeah.
I think I was like a little bit like putting it off a little bit because I was a bit nervous. I don't know. It was just like a more of a subconscious like, ugh. So that was like interesting to see myself doing that. And but then once like I started to get into it and I was seeing the photos, I was like, oh, I look great. Like this is awesome. Like it was very freeing actually, and like kind of empowering. Like, yeah.
That's
So
great.
that was kind of interesting.
I'd say that's what we always want. Like, I think about it sometimes like, oh, would I shoot myself? And I'm always like, oh,
Yes, it's
so
time.
terrifying, right? Yeah, maybe I should, but
It is terrifying. That's it.
It's so terrifying. But like so many people say like have exactly the same answer, like that it was terrifying, but then afterwards really liberating. So yeah, maybe I'll give it a try.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, all right, I'll let you know. So my next question, moving on from that, is around the idea of self-care, and it's something that we talk about a lot at NICO, and it looks like really different for everyone, and it's I find it so interesting to explore like what that means for everybody, because I'm getting a little bit tired of seeing the same old like selling
Take a bubble
like
bath.
you could just buy this, that it's just a bubble bath and a glass of wine or something.
Bubble bath away.
Yeah, if only it was that easy, right? So yeah, I'm always really
it's
curious.
definitely deeper than that.
Yeah, totally. So I'm really curious to hear, what do you even think about self-care? Is it a priority? Is it something that you obviously like fit into your time somehow?
Definitely. I mean, I'm a very sensitive person, so I just feel like I'm always kind of up and down, constantly having to look after myself. So yeah, I mean, it's part of every day. What my self-care is like, I think when I'm not feeling great, I know that I need to like find a way to connect with myself again. It's like some sort of emptiness on that side of things. So like going for a walk, like moving my body in some sort of way, like processing things out of my body. That's big. Like, yeah, walking. I do so much walking, especially around here. It's just like so beautiful. So not only like kind of moving your body and processing things, but you're like just seeing all this beauty, and it's like birds are chirping, and like that for me is like that works like every time. So that's like a good one. But yeah, I also like build meditation, yoga into most days. So, and again, that's just like me connecting with myself, being like, everything's fine. When I just can connect with myself, I remember like everything's good. So I think that's kind of my self-care, and yeah, I make time for it every day. I have to.
Yeah. That's so cool. It's so great that you like can recognize that and make it work and find the time for it.
Well, yeah, I have to.
Beautiful. I love that. Okay, next question is, how does sustainability play a role in your life or in your day-to-day routines?
Well, I guess I think about sustainability a lot with like food. That's like immediately what I think of, like, because that feels like somewhere we can do better, like in an easy way.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where you start. I'm not like some sustainability hero, but I think everybody can just do like small things. So like here in our town, it's really cool because we actually have we have two shops in this town. And one is a butcher and the other one is a fresh produce store, and it's like incredible. And the lady who owns it is like so passionate about, she's a vegetarian, so she like loves fruit and vegetables, and she sources like all of the produce like from local farmers who bring her deliveries, and then she gets a lot of it from her back garden. So I think I think things like that are natural around here in the like 0 kilometer and all that. You know, people buy like local cheese, they buy local fruit and vegetables, all of that without even really thinking about it. It's just kind of like how you do it. So I like love engaging in that. And I think there's a lot less packaging as well when you buy stuff like that. Well, you can at least say like, oh, don't give me the paper bag, don't give me the plastic. I've got this. So like, yeah, that is important to me. And the fact that I can just walk to get it as well, I guess that can.
That's it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we just try to not waste food at all, like eat everything that we have. I don't know what else. I mean, I guess sustainability, I don't know if it's like my daily routine, but I think about that in terms of like, how does that fit in with travel, and does it really?
A tough
I
one.
think that's like a question that everyone is kind of asking a lot, seeing as we all sort of stopped traveling during the pandemic, and we're like, look at me, I'm so low footprint, I'm not taking any flights.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, well, now that we can all travel again and I can fly, like it's kind of, I feel this like, I don't know, dissonance or something about like, oh, I don't know if that's like such a good idea anymore, but that's what I always did. And, I'm like, I do travel photography and writing. So how do I sort of figure that out? So I don't know, I'm sort of thinking about that. But like, I mean, last week I went to Paris, back to visit some friends. And I was able to like hitch a ride with my partner up to Milan because he was going up there anyway. And then I caught the train to Paris instead of flying. And I was like, oh my God, this is like almost the same cost, so much more relaxing. It takes like almost the same time when you sort of add everything up.
Yeah.
And I was like really proud of myself and really like excited that I'm like, okay, well, at least I can go to Paris and not, be getting this short haul flight that's like, feels stupid if I'm going there like 4 times a year or whatever. And I think it's really exciting to see that in Europe, they're really investing in high speed rail and high speed trains rather. And like I guess the public's appetite for train travel is like really getting more and more, and governments are responding. And I think that's really encouraging to see because, if you can sort of get more trains then, and Europe is a big place, then that's a pretty sustainable way to travel, I think.
Totally. Yeah, I love that. And it's all about like, everybody doing what they can on a, whether that's a small scale or something that feels really tiny, everybody doing their little bit makes a huge difference, right? So like thinking about every journey, thinking about like the food, thinking about, how you get around, all of that just like adds up so much, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, we're from Australia and we live in Europe, and it's like I can't catch a train to Australia, and I'm not gonna not go home.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry.
Same.
But yeah, like when I can do some small things, knowing that I'm not perfect at all, but at least I can do some things.
Yeah,
not nothing.
exactly.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's needed, right? Everybody to just do as much as they can.
Yeah, I think
that,
a lot of people have this idea of like, oh, it's all or nothing, and like if you start like talking about sustainability, even then you better be 100% perfect. And I'm sure that you come across that being like an ethical, sustainable brand, that people demand complete perfection, and it's just like, well, it's better than all just doing nothing.
Exactly. And it's a tricky thing, like when you travel for your work or you produce things for your work, like it's inherently unsustainable, right? But like there's still good that comes off it. And if we're offering some kind of alternative, if we're thinking in a way that's slightly different, that contributes something, right? Oh, I think I've lost you. Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, they
Oh, we're back.
at first I thought
Yeah,
you were just
wow.
frowning at me like, wow, crap answer.
Oh no, frozen in a bad way.
I was like, oh no, she's frozen.
This is a feature of like every Zoom call I ever do.
All right. Good. Cool. Well, I just have one more question, which is, what are you working on now? What's next?
I have a few things that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
One, like I have this branding and communications agency with my sister Louise. And we do like brand strategy and visual brand websites and social media strategy, all this stuff. And we've been doing that. Like that's how I afford to do all the things that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've been doing that for years, but we're sort of working at the moment on saying like, okay, well, what do I really want to do in that? And we're sort of working on deepening all of our offerings. I think at the moment it's like in the mainstream, we're seeing that brands are being more like vulnerable in their storytelling, and they're going deeper in what they want to share, and they're going deeper on their like why and what's their purpose and all of this stuff. And I think we're sort of like figuring out how do we then help our clients to go deeper as well in like brand strategy and all this, and not shying away from things like spirituality or using meditation in those sort of things that have traditionally probably been kind of corporate and very commercial. So we're working on a new website too, so that's pretty exciting.
Nice. I'm so excited about the new age of like authenticity in brands, right? Like it's so refreshing.
Yeah, even the kinds of clients that we're working with, it's like, I don't know, it's even like getting people who are like have a really established business and they're like, actually, I want to go in this new direction that's really like empowering to our beauty clients and empowering them to feel good in their skin the way they are. So yeah, like even the meaning behind brands and people wanting to change to be, I don't know, more like that sort of thing, and they're the kinds of people that are coming to us. It's like, yeah, it's really exciting.
So much healthier, right? Like such a healthier outlook on the world.
Yeah, and more honest, more interesting.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
a deeper connection with each other. Like,
yeah,
not just like it's what do they say, it's business, it's not personal, and it's like it's completely changing. It's business, it's personal.
yeah, totally. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting the next like 5-10 years, particularly in small business. I think like there's so much cool storytelling coming out, and really
I think also
doing things.
Wait, I missed that last bit.
Oh, just
cool storytelling and
really like innovative ways of like doing things and telling stories. It's cool.
I think too, like just seeing so many people starting their own business, like that's really exciting as well. It's like, yeah, we're all becoming like, we're living our jobs as like what we really want to do, and like sort of organizing our jobs around what we're good at, what we care about.
Yeah,
I think that's like really exciting to see, and I guess that's like a pandemic thing that pushed all that.
Yeah, I hope it can mean like a shift away from like these huge corporations that just like own industries, right? Like it's so hard to compete with them, but it's really promising. Like we've seen it as well, the way NICO has grown over the last few years as such a like small niche, tiny brand to like starting to grow a much bigger audience. And it's like it's so like, I don't know, heartening in a way, that like people would choose us
over time has come.
Corporation. Yeah, it's really gives me hope for the world.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's super exciting. I wish you well. I think you guys are amazing. What you do is so beautiful and so like authentic and honest, and yeah, exciting. So good luck.
I just like chatting to people about their businesses.
Yeah, it's good fun. Well, that's it. I have no more questions, unless there's anything else you want to throw in.
Where are you sitting right now?
I'm sitting in a forest in Norway. Oh shit, this is um a little
Wow.
forest at the end of my street.
Really deep in there.
Yeah, it's really pretty. It's
We should have like coordinated forests next time.
next time.
I'll
Yeah.
come to you live from my forest.
Live from the forest at the end of the street. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, it's a pretty nice place to do a bit of work. I mean, I think I'm gonna do this every day now, just a bit of forest work. Why not?
I'm gonna try it now too.
Mm.
My computer will only last an hour. It's fine.
Yeah, that's what you need. Just a little hour of forest time every day. It's good.
So maybe it's better to go into the forest without your computer.
That's true.
advice.
Yeah, maybe I'm ruining my
You're ruining the forest vibe.
The Norwegians are gonna walk past and be like, "What is she doing? Working in the forest?
Deported.
She's not allowed." Anyway. Here we go with our laughing fits. We made it the whole way without a laughing fit.
Yeah, we're getting silly. We better wrap it up.
Well. Thank you so much for being a part.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you soon. All right, I'm going to stop the recording now, and then we can have a laughing fit.